Alright guys, welcome to stage 4. This is probably the most annoying arena out of all 9. And this is where a lot of groups start to feel the struggle a little bit, just because of the mechanics here. No environmental hazards to worry about, so you can pretty much use most of the stage, and I will say most because the mechanic here does not allow you to use all the stage, just due to what's going to happen. First round here, don't have to worry about any sort of mechanics, it's just your standard mob pulls. Your priority targets here on this stage are going to be the Enslavers first, and then the Cryomancers, which are the Ice Mages. Ice Mages in general in vDSA do a lot of damage, more than you would expect, so you're just going to want to take them out as quickly as you can. Illusionists are your third priority target, just because they are casters and they can cast a fear on you, which can be problematic in the future. Sorcerers can be a distant fourth priority target just because they are casters. Netches are not actually that dangerous here, despite being a large mob, quote-unquote. But they're not particularly dangerous. Starting on round 2, this is where the Enslavers will spawn. The Enslavers are going to be your primary priority target when they do spawn. There you go, that's the Enslaver right there. This is what happens. They will create a tether on you. One random person will get that blue beam on them that'll continue to take damage, deal damage to them. After a period of time, a shadow will spawn right there, and will basically spin that chain thing around and create a AoE circle around them. So basically what happens is when an Enslaver spawns, he'll pick a random person to tether. That person's going to want to go to the side of the arena, one of the edges, doesn't really matter where as long as you're within healing distance for the healer. Once it spawns, you want to dodge roll away because it'll start that AoE move immediately. And then from there, you just have to stay away from that particular area. You can kill the shadows if you so desire. If they're still up between rounds, it's a good idea for anybody who needs resources to heavy attack them in order to get their resources back. They will despawn after a period of time, as you saw there. So you're just going to want to keep an eye on the Enslavers, keep an eye on yourself to make sure to see whether or not you have the tether or not. And you saw there, we did burn it down, but it still spawned the shadow. That is completely intentional. If you kill the Enslaver while it has a tether on somebody, it'll immediately spawn the shadow once it dies. So just bear that in mind when you're trying to kill the Enslavers. So try to make sure that person who has a tether on them is on the edge of the arena when you kill them. Otherwise, you might end up with shadows just everywhere in the middle of the stage, and that kind of reduces the where you can actually end up going around. You can see there that shadow is in the middle of the arena, so you kind of want to kill it or wait for it to despawn, because it does cut down on where you can kite enemies to. This is going to be particularly important on the last boss. 2 Enslavers here on round 4, right away. Taunt them. Try to burn them down as quickly as you can so we don't spawn too many of the shadows. Some more Enslavers here. One thing to keep note of, we don't have that many deaths in this run. If you do die in a round, you can't actually res yourself, somebody else has to res you. or you have to complete the round before you can res yourself. On stage 4 in particular, since the shadows will stay up and they count as a mob, you can't actually res between rounds, so for stage 4, if you die, you're going to need to get resed by somebody else. Final boss here spawns with 2 Enslavers. Couple of strategies you can use for this boss. Strategy we like to use is we basically kite the boss around the edge of the arena. So when we have tethers, we bring the tethers over to the side of the arena, and then we bring the boss back to a spot where you don't have that many shadows spawning. Boss herself has a couple of moves you're going to want to watch out for. You will throw down an Ash Cloud, heavy attack there. She'll use Stone Fist, which you saw right there. That'll knock you down and stun you if you're not blocking it. Slavers will continue to spawn during the throughout the round. Adds will spawn, you saw them there. They spawn at about 70%. Make sure to taunt the Cryomancer. More Enslavers. As you can see here, you're going to want to take those shadows to the edges of the arena. If you see shadows in the middle of the arena there, I basically can't bring the boss over there. We can't use that area to kite. So you see here, we're pretty safe over here for right now. After this tether though, we're going to move out and away. You can see there's a lot of red going on, so this is why you want to make sure to keep the boss in an open area with not a lot of shadows. Boss also can create AoE around her, so if you do see double AoE, red AoEs with the Ash Cloud and that magma armor, you're going to want to make sure to get away from that. Add spawn again at 40%. 2 Enslavers again. You can see here, bring in tethers to the side, out of the shadows, and now I'm going to bring her back towards the north, making sure to taunt the Enslavers while I do so. As a healer, you're going to need to pay particularly close attention to your stamina DPS, mainly because they don't have access to a shield like Magicka classes do. And they'll take, while you're tethered, you'll take continual damage, so if a stamina DPS is tethered, just keep your heals on them, keep your eye on them to make sure that they don't end up dying. Boss will create a damage shield from time to time, as you saw there. And once the boss is dead, if there are Enslavers up on the field, they will disappear after a short period of time. The shades will not, the shadows will not, so going to want to just keep an eye on that. So there you go, that's stage 4, particularly annoying stage. Gonna go ahead and move on to stage 5 now.